I want to talk to you about what happens to your body when you do 1,000 kettlebell snatches. Not the soreness, not the struggle, not the biology, because what is happening inside of your body during a session like this is one of the most remarkable physiological events you can create without a laboratory. And when you understand what is actually happening, the goal stops feeling extreme and it starts feeling like the most logical thing you could possibly do. So let me tell you what we are going to cover. We're going to talk about 1,000 snatches and what it does to your metabolism, what it does to your muscles, what it does to your heart, and what it does to your body composition over time. Because this is not about one session. This is about what consistent high volume ballistic training builds inside of you over months and years. This is how you train well into your 80s. And this is how you put on a meaningful amount of muscle that lasts. This is how you raise your VO2 max and experience a neurochemical life that most people never access. So let's get into it. The metabolic demand. A 2010 study published in the Journal of Strength and Conditioning Research measured oxygen consumption during kettlebell snatches and found it equivalent to running a 6-minute mile. 20 calories per minute at high intensity. Let that land for a moment. You are not running. You are standing in one place, moving one bell, and your body is working as hard as a sub 6-minute mile pace. Now sustain that for an extended session. The metabolic demand is something most training modalities cannot replicate. But here is what most people miss. The burn during the session is only part of the story. What happens after is where the real adaptation lives. It is called EPOC, excess post-exercise oxygen consumption. High volume ballistic work creates an oxygen debt that your body spends the next 24 to 48 hours repaying. Your metabolism is elevated for up to 2 days after a session like this. You are burning fat while you're sitting at your desk the next morning, while you're making coffee, while you are sleeping. The session ends, the adaptation does not. What is being built in your muscles? 3 months of consistent high rep snatch work is long enough to measurably increase the number and size of mitochondria in your muscle cells. Mitochondria are the organelles that oxidize fat for fuel. More mitochondria means a higher fat burning ceiling. Your body becomes structurally better at using fat as a primary fuel source rather than defaulting to glycogen. This is the adaptation that separates endurance trained athletes from untrained individuals. At a cellular level, you're not just you're not just getting fitter, you're rebuilding your cell. Excuse me, you are rebuilding your cells. The snatch at high volume is also training your muscle fibers across the entire spectrum simultaneously. The slow twitch fibers, the fast twitch oxidative fibers, both at the same time. And the remarkable thing is that most training programs develop one end of the spectrum and neglect the other. This movement does not allow that. It demands everything. And when you demand everything consistently over time, everything grows. Your posterior chain, your glutes, your hamstrings, your spinal erectors, your lats have been under repeated cyclical loading. And here's something most people do not think about in regards to the connective tissue. The connective tissue, the tendons, the fascia, everything is remodeling. The tendons adapt more slowly than muscles, but more permanently. The tendon health you are rebuilding right now will protect those joints for decades. You are not just training for today, you are building armor for the next 50 years. What is happening to your heart? Sustained high output ballistic work produces measurable cardiac adaptation. So your left ventricle increases in both volume and wall thickness. Your stroke volume increases. Your cardiac output increases, meaning your heart pumps more blood per beat. Your resting heart rate drops. Your cardiovascular ceiling rises. And this phenomenon is called athlete's heart. And you are earning it one rep at a time. The muscles you have been training have also developed a denser network of capillaries to supply oxygen and remove waste products. This is why a set that used to feel like a wall at rep 30 now feels sustainable at rep 200. And it's because the delivery and removal infrastructure has been rebuilt. Your body built it because you kept asking it to perform. Why is the fat actually melting? There are three things here that are converging. First, you are burning significantly more calories per day than you were 3 months ago, both during sessions and at rest, because your muscle mass and mitochondrial density have increased. Second, your insulin sensitivity has improved markedly. High volume ballistic training is one of the most effective interventions for improving insulin and for improving insulin sensitivity. So known to exercise science. So better insulin sensitivity means glucose is cleared from the bloodstream more efficiently. Less is stored as fat, and the body preferentially uses fat as fuel between sessions. Third, the elevated growth hormone response from each session. The elevated growth hormone is actively mobilizing stored fat between the training days. You're not just burning fat during the workout. The hormonal environment created by the training is signaling fat release continuously. This is why the fat appears to be melting off your body, because by the physiological definition, it is. The 3 month threshold. Here's something worth understanding about the timeline. 3 months is approximately the minimum threshold for the deeper structural adaptations to become measurable and visible. For the first month is largely neurological. Your nervous system is learning the pattern. The second month is early structural. The tissue is beginning to change. The third month is when the compounding interest of all three starts to become visible to other people. The people around you begin to notice, and you begin to feel something different, not just stronger, different. What this is actually for, I want to be clear about something. 1,000 snatches is not the goal. The goal is what 1,000 snatches builds. The goal is to move well into your 80s, not just to be alive, to move, to get up from the floor, to carry things, to say yes to physical experiences without negotiating with your body first. The goal is to put on a meaningful amount of muscle that protects your joints, regulates your blood sugar, absorbs impact, and maybe more importantly, preserves your ability to generate force when force is needed, especially depending on your profession. The goal is a VO2 max that keeps climbing, a neurochemical life that most people never access because they never ask their body to produce it. Right? We're talking about endorphins, dopamine, serotonin, and oxytocin. So the goal is to become the kind of person who is still capable at 82 years old, who does not need help, who does not require assistance to participate in life. High volume kettlebell training is one of the most efficient paths to that outcome that exists. Not because it is extreme, because it is complete. So here is what I want to leave you with. 1,000 snatches is not a stunt. It is a signal to your mitochondria to multiply, a signal to your heart to grow, a signal to your tendons to remodel, a signal to your hormonal system to mobilize fat and build muscle, a signal to your nervous system that you are someone who does not stop. You are at the beginning of the curve, not at the peak of it. What is happening now will continue to accelerate for the next 6 to 12 months of consistent training. The body has not finished adapting to what you are asking it to do. So keep asking, become hard to break, not impossible, just harder.